Today we're in the field to do a pre-harvest evaluation. And the reason we do a pre-harvest evaluation is because historically lots of times you don't really know what's out there until you get in there with your combine and look at the yield monitor. But today we're going to take a peek at, we're going to evaluate 4 rows. And it's a 4-step process. First we measure off 25 feet. And then we evaluate the plants in that 25 feet. Then we look at the ears, count the ears, the harvestable ears, then count the secondary ears. After which we will take an evaluation of the ears. We've measured off our 25 feet and selected the 4 rows that we're going to test. And now we're going to go through and count each plant within the 25 feet. After we've counted the number of plants, we're going to turn back around and count the number of harvestable ears. After we've measured off, counted the plants, counted the ears, the secondary ears, we take 10 consecutive plants in each row and analyze the nodes where the ears are. Here's the ear on this node. So we're going to go up one on the opposite side and pull it back. And we're going to find that this one is smooth. If we look at its neighbor, the next plant in the consecutive 10, we find the ear here on this node, go to the opposite side and one up, and we find that it has a groove. Now what that tells us is, early on, the plant tried to put the ear on this segment, but gave it up and went down to the next node. Now I'm going to try and find an average ear size. So I just start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and pull the ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull this ear. Get 3 ears out of each row for a total of 12 ears. While we're analyzing our ear, we first measure, or count the rows rather, around the bottom, the girth around the bottom. Then we switch to the top, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches down, we measure that. $20 around the bottom. And 18 around the top. Next we're going to measure the length. We're going to first measure the length harvested. So that includes all these kernels up to about here or so. Something that's not going to thresh out of the combine, blow out the back. It's not going to end up in the hopper. Our next step is to measure the length pollinated. And that's where we add all these kernels that have pollinated. And finally, the third thing we measure on the length is the length established. And that's going to include all the little divots to the tip. Now there's a few reasons that we do this. First reason is just to get out and look at your corn, just to see what's going on. The second reason is when we do our hot streak evaluations, that's how we compare them to one another. So we do what we just did in one spot, the neutral spot, and then we also do it in the hot streak spot. Say if you have a potash study, or a speed study, or a depth study, that's how we compare the two. And third, last but not least, of course, we want to check stock quality. And I really want to encourage everybody to, while they're out walking their corn, just take and push against the stock. And if it springs right back, well, that's good. And if it just kind of stays there or even starts to break, we'd really encourage you to make plans on going out and getting that corn.